The Roman Empire is full of intrigue, and it's a little unstable now. Maybe it's your turn to take a stab at being the emperor and donning the purple. Hello and welcome to Tantrum House Studio Awesome. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Katie, and today we're going to be taking a look at Donning the Purple, a reprint, and its expansion, Votes and Virtues. In this game, you're going to be taking on the role as a Roman family, not just a single Roman person, and you are going to be trying to propel your family into the emperor spot and therefore taking the most victory points you can. We have a prototype copy of the expansion and then the reprint of the original game. So let's take a look.
In Donning the Purple, players will take on the role of influential families in the Roman Empire. For a 3-player game, one player will start as the emperor, one will start as the heir to the throne, and the other will be the leader of the Senate.
Each player will receive a secret in-game goal and a plot card that can be played at any time and can give you a boost in battle or a leg up in other areas. Each player also receives a player board of their Roman house along with stamina tokens. The board comes with all of the standard actions that you can take on your turn.
The standard actions that players can take are moving a pawn across the map to take out enemy forces, bribing a senator to place your token on the rightmost Senate spot, assassination, which lets you roll dice to attempt to kill a senator or the current emperor, build an estate or monument, which will add a building project to the queue that will give you different rewards.
Whoever is the current emperor will have an extra action and has an additional board of action options. The emperor can choose an heir if there is no current heir, or move a group of legionnaires on the map. Or you may train new legionnaires or add an aqueduct to the building queue to reduce famine.
The game is played over 4 years. Each year you'll roll to place incoming enemies and famine tokens. After that you harvest grain from regions without famine and that don't have enemies in the farming province.
In the next phase, the emperor draws and resolves 5 event cards. Most are pretty bad for the players, and after that he flips up a forum card that is an additional action space that anyone can take during their turn. If a token is placed there though, it is gone for the rest of the game.
The 4th phase is where players take their actions. A player uses stamina tokens to take actions, and when these run out, your current family member dies. You receive a negative point token whenever a family member dies, and then give away any special role you have at the time. This is how the heir might become emperor and so on. You should note that there is no player elimination, you just start back over with all of your stamina tokens.
After all the players have taken their turns, the rightmost senator gets to swap the order of 2 of the buildings in the queue. Then you place out the first 3 buildings in the building queue.
Then the emperor must feed the people. This is where food shortage can become a real problem. The happiness track will go down for every province that is lacking food. The emperor can purchase additional food at the current cost. If the happiness track ever reaches 0 though, the emperor dies. However, he will receive victory points based on the happiness level if he survives.
Collecting taxes happens next. The current emperor, along with anyone who has built an estate, will receive taxes from the province as long as there are no famine tokens in the region or enemies on that space.
If the capitals of all the regions get overrun with enemies, the game is over and everyone loses. Otherwise, the game ends at the 4th year with the player with the most victory points declared winner.
There's an expansion called Votes and Virtue, which is 7 mini expansions, or they can all be added into the gameplay at the same time. A 4th player option is added that gives one person the power of the general. They get an extra map with new actions, along with boosted strength for battle and movement.
Another module gives the Senate votes that can affect the game greatly, making those spots in the Senate much more desirable. There's an heir board that gives the heir the ability to force the emperor to pay him or lose stamina, and a weather module that makes traveling by sea a lot more tricky, along with new plot, event, and forum cards.
Controlling the emperor position is essential in this game. It's real easy to try to sit back and let somebody else deal with all the problems of being the emperor, but it really is how you get a lot of the points. It really, to me, has that immersive feel in that this is how you can imagine the Roman families were having to deal with things. Like, you're trying so hard to become emperor. Once you get there, you find out there's all these problems. Like, there's enemies running into the land. How are you going to feed people this year? Your buddies in the Senate are trying to overthrow you or mess up your building projects. There's all sorts of things to worry about. And so it's really hard to hang on to that emperor position because places like making you a nervous wreck.
There's so much in this game that has to do with timing. You want to time the death of your current family member just right so that you can start out strong with your next family member. And also, you're trying to time things just right so that you can kill off the emperor and become emperor at the perfect time.
Yes, that's a huge deal.
You want that previous emperor to have built up that position so that you can then just take advantage of all of the improvements that he's made to the board.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the emperor, you're trying to do as much as you can, but you don't want to leave things too well off for your replacement.
Yeah, so it's one of those where maybe you're about to die, you know, as the emperor, I'm about to die, I'm leaving everything to my heir. I want to see him struggle as hard as I did. I'm going to muck things up on my last turn just so he has to work hard to get his points and not just run off of what I've already done. This game does have a really neat component with dealing with the actions on your board, and something we didn't talk about earlier is that there are certain actions that if you take them, everybody else has the option to copy that action while it is still my turn. So my turn is here. I choose to move my pawn on the map. Ryan can choose to spend a stamina token and do it as well during my turn. So there's some neat things. So you're not waiting for one person to really run through everything and then you didn't get a chance at it. You know, you're also getting that same chance on the board. So that's an interesting part. Plot cards are a huge deal as well in this game. Those, like I said, they can either be used to boost you during battle, or they can be used to really throw a monkey wrench in somebody else's plans.
Yeah, you also really have to work together at times to keep the enemies at bay, because when the enemies move around the map, they destroy all the buildings that are there, and they might destroy the estates that are bringing in money for you.
Yeah, or those aqueducts that you work so hard to get out.
And there's only 4 capitals. If they take control of all 4 capitals, you lose. Or if you just ignore the enemies at all and all 28 come out, you also lose. So you definitely have to keep on top of that. And it's always worth attacking the enemies because you get to roll dice that may give you plot cards, and the plot cards are just so powerful.
Yes.
This game also has some advanced rules that you can implement, which shake things up just a little bit, add some new cards, and also add variable player powers with your monuments specifically, where they will kind of emphasize different aspects for you to focus on in the game. And I really like that. And now we've got the Votes and Virtues expansion, and that's just added a bunch more modules for you to take a stab at. And if it sounds of interest to you, definitely check it out. Donning the Purple on Kickstarter now.
I'm going to put this in the outtakes. This is also a solar.
This is also a solar.
It's a solo game. You can play it solo. There are solo rules and solo things in the expansion as well.
There are solar rules in this game.
Solar rules! Okay, done.